Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. First, let me share a nice story with you. Yesterday, my wife and I were shopping at Costco. We were talking to each other while waiting for our turn at the checkout. When all of a sudden, a nice cashier lady held my hand and put it on my wife's hand and said, "Please, no argument, my dear." I was surprised at first, then realized that the way we were talking might have sounded like an argument to her. Right away, I happily thanked the cashier lady by saying, "Thank you for your great gesture." However, we were not arguing at all, but just having a relaxed conversation about what items we might have missed here. I understand that the way people speak in Mandarin may sound strong to you, but in reality, that is just how native Mandarin sound. Then my wife, her and her colleague, and of course myself, all laughed heartily. Then she said, "Sorry, I thought you guys were having a fight." I continually explained in a very friendly manner, and it wasn't the case at all. And very often people assume the wrong tone from my voice. Then I asked her about her origin owing to her peculiar appearance. She told me that her mother was from Jamaica and her father was from Paris. No wonder she's still so beautiful in her 50s, I guess. I said, "That's why you are so beautiful, madame." By the way, the word madame is a polite way to address a lady here in Quebec, Canada. On the way home, I still talked about the experience with my wife. We are both used to this kind of situation, but that experience was heartwarming and beautiful. Not only her intention to help us, but also the way she handled the situation by putting my hand on my wife's hand. She is beautiful not because of her appearance, but her attitude and behavior. So, yesterday's Costco experience was wonderful. If only such experiences were the norm and not the exception, the world would be a better place. Now, let me share a recent comment posted by a person of a German origin. He said, quote, "Why do you put so much aggression in your voice? It is very stressful to listen to. Can you try it calm, soft, and more quiet?" End quote. Well, let's ignore his English grammar mistakes here. I'd like to share my thought with our community, especially with those unfamiliar with Chinese culture. First and foremost, Mandarin is my first language, not English. I'm mostly self-taught in English. Now, let's talk about the sound of my voice. I do not put any aggression into my voice. What you hear in the video is just how I typically speak, and that is how a decent, educated, and confident Mandarin speaker should sound. If you perceive it as aggression, well, that's just your perception according to your culture. Your perception and your experience and your own interpretation of another culture. That's not an objective fact, and that is certainly not my problem. Second, in Chinese culture, being calm, soft, or quiet is an internal quality which should not be judged by someone's voice. If you want the sound to be quiet, then why not lower the volume of your speaker? The Chinese language has a different way to evaluate the concept of the softness, which lies in the content, not the voice. As for the concept of calm, well, we do retain it internally, but with the necessary external expression, which is still considered calm. Chinese culture does not appreciate a monotone or soft voice. Third, if you find my voice to be very stressful, just to borrow your own word, well, for your own well-being, the simplest situation is to not watch my video. A similar event happened some time ago. A person said, quote, "I have to stop watching your video often, though the content is great. Your video created too much stress on my mind." End quote. Well, If you are too weak to take my strong voice and too tech-challenged to adjust the speaker volume, maybe you should consult a professional. At the end of the day, I'm offering a free survey to the community, and I'm entitled to express myself freely without putting on any kind of pretense. I understand that voice modulation can vary depending on one's culture. Since you mentioned you are of a German origin, let's assume speaking in a soft, quiet manner may be a German cultural norm. But it's just wrong to use that to judge my way of speaking. If you find this to be stressful, then that's your problem. All my content so far is available for free. Take it or leave it. I do appreciate your being straightforward, but do not perceive my words as negative or rude. I'm only being honest. Long story short, I'm not a soft-spoken person, but a confident person. I'm not that quiet when speaking, but I focus on logic and knowledge. I'm a calm person when facing a hard time in life, but not through my voice. Anyway, I still appreciate the beautiful Costco lady's wonderful gesture even now. Thank you for listening. I hope my voice didn't stress you too much.